What's up, dude? Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I do have another sort of trigger warning for this video. It does involve the murder of a child, so if that is not really something that you're comfortable with listening to, definitely click off this video. Like I said, I'm trying to be better about my trigger warnings that I do, because I kind of forget that, you know, some people just have issues, or like I don't want to send them into a bad state of mind because of some of the topics that we talk about on this channel. So, I mean, there's definitely topics that I do not like talking about or hearing about, like cannibalism. Nope. That, for whatever reason, is just an absolute no-no for me, and I don't want people to be taken off guard if, you know, they hear about things that are triggering to them on my channel. That's definitely not my intention by any means. So from now on, I'm gonna hopefully be better about giving trigger warnings. So that being said, let's just jump right into today's video. On May 19th, 2020, Patricia Ripley, 45 years old, called 911 to report that she had been followed and ambushed after a car sideswiped her car, which caused her to crash the vehicle that she was driving. Patricia lives in the Hammocks area of Miami-Dade County. She claimed that the driver, who was a black man, according to her, got out of the car and approached with a knife while demanding drugs. When she told the man that she didn't have any, he opened the car door, took her phone and computer tablet, and then grabbed her 9-year-old son before erratically driving off. Patricia's son, Alejandro, has nonverbal autism, so he does not speak at all. I believe that he does understand when he's being spoken to, but he himself just cannot speak. The police took her into the police department in Doral and interviewed her to figure out what exactly happened. However, during the interview, she began giving them conflicting statements. Eventually, she just gave it up and told them what actually happened. Witnesses as well as surveillance footage showed a woman who the police believed to be Patricia pushing Alejandro into a canal at the Kendall Acres condominium complex around 7:30 p.m. Now, Alejandro is only 9 years old, so he's still a young child. Neighbors jumped in as soon as they saw what was happening and helped grab Alejandro before he could drown. They didn't think that anything about the interaction was strange at first. Kids fall into the canal all the time. We've lived here for 25 years, said the witness, who did not want to be identified. Usually you grab them and yank them out and away you go. I mean, it is water. Like, kids love playing in water. I understand that. The water went up only to his chest, thankfully, so he was still able to breathe. However, if he is, you know, autistic and nonverbal, he could have sensory issues or just like not know how to swim quite yet. So that is still alarming, but thankfully it wasn't like the water went over his head, which was good. The only odd thing was that she kind of started screaming and calling his name a couple of times. It was weird. Then she turned around and ran off screaming, the man said. The witness didn't realize that Alejandro was nonverbal and they were trying to call out to him. He was just sitting there and I tried to speak to him a couple of times and he looked at me. That's when she returned with an older couple. At the time, I thought they were together because the woman was really giving it to her. She was screaming at her, "What are you doing? Why do you leave a kid in there?" An older man pulled Alejandro out of the water and dried him off as best as he could. Then an hour later, police say that she drove to another pond/canal type area at a golf and country club 6 miles away around 8:30 p.m., where Patricia led Alejandro into the water to drown. A search began and an Amber Alert was sent out after Patricia reported that he was kidnapped. He was found floating in the canal at 7:50 a.m. the next day, so that was Friday. There was also surveillance footage from Home Depot showing Patricia waiting in her car for more than 15 minutes before she called the cops with the report. So she waited a while before calling, and there's surveillance footage of it. Honestly, nowadays, thankfully, there are cameras, almost everywhere. So that is really helpful, and people are able to get away with less and less. Patricia was arrested May 23rd and had been held without bond. She faces a first-degree murder charge and a premeditated attempted murder charge. On June 12th, she pled not guilty to her murder charges, which, bold of her to plead not guilty. After this initial hearing, her charges included first-degree murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, aggravated child abuse, and filing a false police report. Prosecutors filed a notice to seek a grand jury indictment for the first-degree murder because only someone who is indicted by a grand jury can be sentenced to the death penalty, which is what they thought she deserved. However, at this time, since this was back in 2020, grand juries had been suspended because of the coronavirus. This happened with a lot of different cases, so that's not unusual for that time. However, as of October 29th, 2020, prosecutors said that the death penalty will be on the table. Patricia also tried to get out of paying for a private investigator and other experts who specialize in trying to keep defendants off Florida's death row. I don't think that this is really uncommon either, because death row is so backed up. Like, there's so many people sitting in jail or prison waiting, for their final outcome, and that's really caused a lot of overcrowding in prisons, and a lot of prisoners are getting out of jail because of overcrowding reasons as well. So I think that's why they just wanted her to go in, serve her time, and then get out. So, however, the prosecutors objected to her trying to get out of having to pay for the private investigator and the other experts, and they pointed out that Patricia's family owns an expensive home in South Florida and have land in the Dominican Republic, so it's not like they're struggling too bad. She is still responsible for the $300,000 bill being charged by her private defense lawyers. If she is found to be indigent by a judge for her attorney fees, she will be represented by the Miami-Dade public defender's office. So an indigent person, I had to look this up because I had no idea what this meant, means that a person whose income is 125% or less of the current poverty threshold established by the United States Office of Management and Budget, or 2, who is eligible for supplemental security income or free services under the Older Americans Act or developmentally disabled assistance, according to law.justia.com. A judge did rule that Patricia is indigent for certain costs that include depositions, private investigators, and the experts who specialize in keeping defendants off death row. I kind of think it's a joke. I think personally she should have to pay it, but that's just me. And when they say family had land in the Dominican Republic, I don't know if that meant like specifically her and her husband, who, by the way, was still showing up and supporting her, Patricia, and I believe he thinks that she is in fact innocent. Anyways, I don't know if it was like her and her husband that own that land, or maybe just literally a relative owns that land and they're like, oh, clearly she's fine. I don't really know for sure. It doesn't really say or elaborate into that anymore. However, I do not know anything more about this case now. I could not find like a trial date that like hasn't happened yet. There was a trial and I believe it was 21 or 2022, but that was to determine whether or not she, I believe, was responsible for those charges, like the $300,000 or not. But I don't know if she has another court date coming up, or if they settled out of court, if she just pled guilty, or what the case is. I genuinely do not know. So if any of you out there know more about this, please be sure to comment down below, because if you guys have information that I don't, I'm definitely interested in knowing more, as I'm sure a lot of other people would be as well. So please comment down below. Also comment what you think about this case. One final quote from Patricia, but she said, "He is going to be in a better place. That's what she said during her confession, according to detectives, when like she did finally, you know, tell them the story of what actually happened when she quit lying and saying that she was ambushed and sideswiped and her kid was kidnapped. So that's really disgusting. I do understand that having a child with autism is probably very difficult. I have a cousin who is autistic and he's not nonverbal, but I do know that my aunt and uncle had to put a lot of extra time and effort into helping him make it so that way he can, you know, go out into society and go to school and have a job and have social skills. So I'm under no illusion that she killed him just cause. I'm sure that she hit a breaking point and thought that the stress of having a nonverbal autistic son was just too much for her. But you're still a mom. Like, that is your child. How does that stress overshadow the love that you have for your child? I don't really understand that. I don't know. I'm so flabbergasted because a lot of people have autistic kids and love them and support them. How did that just kind of get, you know, lost on Patricia? I don't know. But either way, I thought that this was an incredibly sad case, but still very interesting, and I wanted it to be out there into the world. So that is the story of Alejandro Ripley. Please be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it interesting, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I do videos like this every day. I'm trying to get to be on a better, more consistent posting schedule. I do them every day except for Sunday, but I haven't been posting at like a regular time recently, so I'm trying to get back on top of that, so just stick with me. But that's it for me today. Be safe out there, and I will see you guys in tomorrow's video.